It's fresh fish picked out of maybe somewhere in a, or what have you. It's just, we're giving you the maritime experience. You see, let me tell you, that will make news faster. That will trend more on social media quicker. We have to think out of the box. Why? That is solidifying your brand, giving the right picture. Oh, these are shippers. These are, so everybody is into shipping. Those are the kinds of stories. Sometimes we used to think that, are you crazy? What? I said, look, you need a bit of this insurgent thinking, because this is a government establishment. The space is pretty much established in nature. But if you're going to break out a little bit, you need some doses of this once in a while. So it's to really challenge that thing. And I think that's, for me, is the major argument I bring to you today. To say, as public relations people, we must be very strategic. We must shift the paradigm. Because aren't you tired of people just ambushing you every now and then over issues, especially bad actors? Sometimes it could be somebody who decides, maybe they wrote a proposal and the means was not there to satisfy them. And the next thing, some news is flying around and you have to do cleanup. So it's time to get ahead of the game. That's the point I'm making to all of us, to think creatively as well, and within the structural accommodation of an agency of government such as ours, we can make some good creative progress. So I want to begin to wrap up. Do I still have more time? Okay, good. So, by now coming into some of the skills that each person, everyone around this table needs to have, we must also develop ourselves. We must develop ourselves, and very intentionally. Now, number one, I think I had my notes, just a second here. So I'm going to read through some of these skill sets that are necessary. Excuse me. So we've agreed and we've made the point that a brand is a promise. And for you, your promise to the shipper is that we will protect you. We will always have your back. And exactly. We are like the Superman in our cape, NSC at the back of it, coming to the rescue. So if you're being bullied by a terminal operator or what have you, and then, or for some reason you're delayed, and then your shipment defaulted into demurrage, and all of those things are piling, and it's about to sink your business. Shippers Council is that knight in shining armor that swoops in and says, no, I'm the defender of this universe, so to speak. And the shipper knows that they've got our back. So that is incentive for them to keep on driving their business. Because the more they ship, the more there's cargo accruals. And we know the ramifications of more cargo, even to us as a nation, in the International Maritime Organization. It's part of what counts against us when we go to IMO. We're talking about category C and all of those things. They look at those metrics. So your role is so important, such that if people now leave our port environment to use other ports, that's a loss for us. So Shippers Council must rise to that occasion, and we must communicate these winning narratives. So in terms of the kind of skill sets that I want to encourage us to develop, number one is strategic thinking. So let me explain. Strategic thinking at the personal level is instinct to just question. It's the essential element in every good journalist. I mean, the way we're taught journalism, you use your 6 7 sevens. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. The 6 7 7, 6 of them. Let's develop strategic thinking skills at the personal levels, and it starts by just questioning, what if? What if? You can do this privately, personally, nurture it on your own till it becomes a skill. You'll be amazed at how it serves you. Number 2, the ability to read and absorb expansively. Let me ask, in the last 2 weeks, how many of us have read or are reading any book? Just a book. Let me see. How many hands up? All right, what are you reading? Tell me, sir. Tell me, what are you reading? What's the title of the book? The Tracy System Leader. The what? The Tracy System Leader. The Tracy System Leadership. Okay, the Tracy, that's John C. Maxwell. Okay. What about you now? Somebody is Purpose-Driven Life. Purpose-Driven Life. That's Rick Warren? Rick Warren. Okay. Anyone else? Atomic Habits. I forgot the guy's name now. It's a self-help reference. It's a very popular one in recent times. So what I'm saying is, please, you don't need to be an exhaustive, fantastic reader. Just, even if it's just 2 pages every day, the quality of your self-development is going to rub off on the quality of your production at work. There's no magic to it. And one way to ensure that is to start by reading. It could be anything. It could be a maritime themed material. It could be something that is business related. It could be a motivational reference, whatever it is. Develop it, because what it does is that it expands the mind. You see, the best communicators are those with expansive dispositions, because they can relate, they can sit in any scenario mentally. And so if they are to drive communication narratives with a pen and paper without thinking, they can either craft a script or do a memo or do a press release and set the direction, the news peg, the direction of how we want this to be done. So please make out time, read, because the exercise value for the mind is very significant. And we are the thinkers for the organization. Let's understand that we are the thinkers for the organization. There are things that my principal will want to do, and I tell him, you can't do it. I tell him, I'm sorry. You will do it, but not that. That was the way I work. And maybe because I had enough of that latitude, because I was practically railroaded, and we were very close. And I'll tell him, I said, because I'm not ready to spend the next 1 week trying to beat back or manage the fallout. And it's going to distract you. You still have this and that and the other. That was the level of leverage that I have. I know it's not the same for everyone. I understand that. But it's our function. I understood that was my responsibility as well. And I said, okay, if you're going to do it, or let's put it this way. Let's tweak the headline a little bit. Just to let us lead it before it happens. That's what that strategic ability gives you before it happens. Number 3, your writing skills. It's so important.
Listen, please, like what the second one you're talking about,
yes.
Read.
Yes.
You see, there is, in our school of journalism, they will always tell you, for you to be a very good journalist, you must go and read other disciplines.
Yeah.
Because you may see a lawyer and you have not read anything about law. You don't know much about law. You can't ask him a question. And if you ask him a basic question, he will now navigate and go to a higher pedestal that you will not even be understanding what he's saying. That is why the emphasis is that you go on, read the trade laws. The trade laws are, you read international shipping laws. All these things will help you so that at any point in time, there's a crisis, you will know how to navigate and you know how to respond immediately. That's the
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And that is so profound. In fact, it should be taken for granted that should be induction level material, so to speak, at its most fundamental, because you have to communicate. You have to ensure that the words or the message is out there. Then the third one has to do with writing skills. Well, I'm going to say this. We all have to continue to develop in this area as much as possible. But you can't write well if the first two areas have not been developed. Because you'll end up writing for formality. You're writing to get a particular line of messaging across. And to strengthen your writing, your vocabulary must be strong. Again, how do you get strong vocabulary? By reading. By reading and utilizing keywords. In your industry, for example, your registers are very important. How you use them. The question that I would love to ask is, it's so easy to say, okay, those of us in PR, we are not the core shipping professionals. That's not true. That should not be an excuse. You must know everything. When I joined NIMASA, I had to read up on these things they call Incoterms. I had to read up. I was reading. My case was a problematic one. Why? I was yanked from the School of Eloquence and engrafted into the highest level as an advisor on strategy and communication. So I had to rely on my consulting background to draft the strategy for my friend who was the DG then. And I actually did it when I was outside, because I said, I can help, but from outside. I'm not coming in. But when they drafted me in, goodness me, after my first week, I said, well, you will not be able to cope if you don't read up. I was reading. I had to start ordering maritime history. If you see my library, I was ordering books, dictionaries, oceanic terminologies. Because I could be in a meeting, they say, all right, I said, now give us a brief. And then I'm using what? Terminologies that belong in the market there. So I had to read. And not only was I reading, I was making sure the guys, I had designated staff in the Marine Environment Management Department, in shipping development. I would summon them, I will invite them. All right, talk to me. As they're talking, even though they're giving me a brief, but the journalist in me was asking questions for my learning and development. That was how I caught up. You must develop a strategy that works for you, that enables you to quickly come up to terms. You must know everything. Whether it's the terminologies and the modus operandi. How many of us here have been to the ports? How many of us? 1, 2, 3, not every one of you. You should go and walk at least, even if it's just go there, embed yourself, have a feel, breathe in the air there. See how these all transactions unfold. I am telling you, it will shape the way you put the narrative out. That's why you see journalists, they want to go to places. They want a tour, they want to do a tour, they want an on-the-spot assessment, or just get on the plane, get on that helicopter, see what's going on, because when they then write the stories, they immerse you in it. Please, you are the port economic regulator. You must know what those ports look like. You must see what the freight forwarders are going through. You need to go there. At least have a whiff of it. It will shape a lot of things. It will. That experiential dimension will make it very visceral and to make what of a difference. I talked about your writing skills. Then you must also develop your speaking skills. Very important. You must become a dynamic speaker. Because you can't be in a place and they are saying things that may not be directly picking out Shippers Council, but ramification-wise, you know you should weigh in. That's not the time to be silent. That's the time you get up. And I can tell you in 5 minutes of speaking, you can paint the finest picture of your organization into pure brand value in the hearts and minds of people. That's how powerful the art of speaking is. Effective oral communication. You must develop it. Learn it, whatever it is you do. All of you here must be good speakers. You can no longer hide behind your memos. You must. You cannot be in the communication arena and not be able to speak effectively with confidence and explain, boil down what it means to be a shipper. What does it mean? For instance, Nigerian Shippers Council, when I was just really looking at it, I came to the conclusion that the Nigerian port is like, what, Old Trafford. Arsenal versus Man United. And MPA is the referee. That's all. If one party, Arsenal could be the freight forwarders, and Man U could be terminal operator. Oh yeah, lock horns. We do business. So if one person, like in football, you commit a foul, what does the referee do? He blows the whistle. An infringement has occurred. I need to restore balance. That's Nigerian Shippers Council. In analogy terms, you must be able to explain who you are, what you do. So Nigerian Shippers Council, who are we? Oh, what do you guys really do? You start, if it's a speech, think of a football match. We are the referee. Or think of this ecosystem, we are the umpire. But please, your ability to speak very well is very important. Next is your ability to interface with artificial intelligence. The world has changed now. Your ability to interface with artificial intelligence. Now, let me be clear about this. There are people who talk about AI taking our jobs. I like what a young lady said recently online. She said, no, AI will not take anybody's job. It is people that know how to use AI that will take other people's jobs. I was very impressed with that statement. Please, when you are online, don't get too carried away with all the social noises and all the crazy content. Somebody wake up in the morning and because, the way they went to bed, they just begin to post themselves. And before you know it, before noon, it will have over 10,000 views and all that. Scan through all of those. You're going to meet, especially on LinkedIn, where people are really making meaningful contributions, adding meaningful value. You're going to see a lot of that. So, your ability to interface with AI. And the principle behind artificial intelligence is very simple. We, the humans, are the originators. AI is the generator. So, the original ideas coming from us and using AI to generate any additional. We do not abandon our responsibility to AI. Recently, of course, I teach public speaking and I coach quite a number of people, quite a lot of top people, even in the maritime sector. Even after I left, I went back to the school of eloquence. And so there was this day, one of my students, very senior person in one of the agencies, was preparing for a speech. He had to represent his principal. And so they sent me the speech. It was written by the PR unit. Don't worry, it was not NSC. It was only by the PR unit. And I took the speech. As we were practicing and tried to help him prepare, I said, hold on. I then assessed the speech for AI. I realized that 70% of it was written using AI. Now that's an abuse. So practically, there was no input. So AI was no longer being used as a tool. AI was being used or being abused as the staff, as the speechwriter. I kid you not. So that's laziness. And there's no way you'll be able to respond to this larger crisis when we get to communication crisis. If, as a communications person, you're not developing your capacity. If your principal, I believe you write speeches for your, does this department do you do some speech writing as well? This unit, do you do some speech writing? Or sometimes, okay, if they want, okay, PR can do the speech. So part of what you want to do is sit down with the party involved, let them articulate in very clear terms and help them refine from a communication standpoint. Because it's not everything that should be said in the way it is said openly. And that is your duty as gatekeeper, which is one of the functions of media, of communication, of journalism. You're the gatekeepers. People think gatekeeping is only about what we should prevent from coming in. Part of gatekeeping is also what we prevent from getting out. So you can guide. And there are steps, there are procedures for guiding principals or parties, lead parties who are giving speeches. So you can use AI to support the original intent. Understand the principle. We humans are originative. AI is generative. Do not reverse the role. Do not see the original responsibility to AI. It's just maybe you go to ChatGPT or Gemini and say, give me a speech. You can imagine if I had gone to use AI, I would have just been reading from, and then we'll be reading, okay, I have my paper. I would have given you paper now up to 20 pages from AI. But we are still the originals to make the conversations meaningful, productive, and impactful. So AI should be used intentionally towards clearly set goals, used as a tool. So you can't run away from it. There are people who are trying to avoid the use of artificial intelligence. It has come to stay. The same way when Google showed up and we were worried, you mean you just do a search and everything will come out, and we got used to it. I am sure within the next 1 or 2 years, we'll all be using these tools to provide us the necessary support. We as communicators must be leading the charge on the cutting edge of the use of these tools. Then the next skill that we must develop has got to be our interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills will serve our ability to cut across departments and understand what is going on, rather than always waiting. Interpersonal skills is purely relational capability. Why? Because you constantly need information, you constantly need perspective, you constantly need intelligence to guide how you prepare materials and to give you a good head start. Please, PR unit, do not operate in your own echo chamber. Go across the directorates, have friends, colleagues, interface regularly so that you can constantly have a good feel of real issues going on, not rumor-driven content within the organization. You know what I'm talking about. There are things we all get to know almost immediately. Those are rumor-driven content. But more functional information and awareness must come through how we interlink. Swing by the other department, the other unit, get a sense of what's going on. And then your interrelational skills with the media is also very important. Please, let the media not just be when it's time for your press release that you're circulating. I think we should strengthen that handshake. There are maritime journalists that I met that were just so exceptional. They were very serious-minded. They were not interested in personality stories. Those were the easy ones. Please, when can we see the DG? We want to interview him. And you're asking the DG the questions that the answers are readily available.
You asked 3 days ago.
That the PR unit or the marine environment unit could have provided you. But I met a few journalists who said, look, I want to do a special report on this aspect of pollution and what NIMASA is doing. That was just so I met journalists like that, but there were few. And you also must orchestrate. You can orchestrate and encourage 1 or 2 journalists that have the depth to explore this. Exactly. You can orchestrate. And then they do it, and that forms part of what you feed into the ecosystem. In fact, you can have the journalists help you with some research-related work that gives you the content that you can use. And then another skill is your ability to create short-form video content that can tell the stories of the seas. This is now a necessity, given the kind of media space that we are living in. Who is your competition? It's not your fellow sister marine and blue economy agencies. Your competition is all of that business out there online, making it difficult for people to even watch your program, The Shippers. You see it probably have less than 100 views. After how many, 6 months or what have you? Because those views, those eyeballs are going elsewhere. And you can't keep producing that program the same way. You've got to find short form content. Your ability to create those things, they are very important. Take your camera team somewhere in the port, create something that people can relate to, and put it on TikTok. Put it on all these platforms, and then thankfully, one of the interesting and exciting things I found out during my time in maritime is that there are 1,001 WhatsApp groups. And once you send it to one, everybody in the maritime sector gets to see it. Do you know? Think about this. My dear head here, think about this, madam. Do you know that using those sort of short forms with a clear plan every week over the next 3 months, just circulating it across all those WhatsApp groups? A lot of journalists have their own. I'm sure I'm on some with some of you, just that we don't know, have each other's numbers and all that. Just the shipper. Maybe the shipper becomes, you can evolve it from just being a TV, the name of your TV program, into it becoming a person, an embodiment. It could become a character. That will stick more, faster. Give it a form. And then you tell the stories around it. It requires thinking. It requires a different approach. Because the world we live in now is so discontinuous. We can't keep up with this crazy digital world using the analog framework that most of us government entities were built on. We can't. It is changing. So we need to lead the conversation. We need to tell our stories that define ourselves before others define us. Because every day, The circumstances in the port economic environment is defining us whether we know it or not. So we need to get ahead of it, to define ourselves. Have a list of those your victories, convert them to clear narratives. 3-minute short forms. Put them out there and sell yourself. Consistently, it will change the perception within that group, because those are your stakeholders. So these are some of the things that I think they are low-hanging fruits in terms of skills, mindset, and approach that we can have and begin to nurture. They are low-hanging fruits. We can invite any of these people, these younger people, to come and maybe coach you as a group through how to do some of these things. We must do that, whether we like it or not. Even though some of us have, we are like in our 50s and above, and then we see what is going on. This is the world that we are in. Our stories are being told behind our backs. And trust me, they are not telling it the way it should be told. And we can't lift our hands up in despair and say it's not fair. We need to regain the narrative. And I'm sure that NSC get coppers posted. Some of these coppers, if you have them posted, get them into your units. Any coppers here? No. I'm sure you have some. Get them into your unit and begin to saddle them with some of these things. You'll be amazed at what they can give to you. And they are within the system, so it will be compliant. But that fresh take will unveil a dimension. You'll be amazed. Send it to the executive secretary, send it to all the directors, just move it around. A fresh take, a fresh dimension. Because that is the world that we live in. So I want to encourage us with this. Sometimes part of it is you catch your ES unawares, tell him to say one or two things, you catch a stakeholder unawares, you mix it together, you send it out, it goes viral. Oh, Shippers Council, they are carrying us along. It's just, these are, because a brand is not a product of just one singularity of effort. It's not. It is an amalgam of effort, initiatives, vigilance all over. We're making sure that the bad actors are not being mischievous. We're staving them off. That's true. We do that, but then there's space. We fill it in with positive material so that we are leading the telling of our stories, and we stay the course. We stay the course. We get creative and innovative. Okay, this is happening and all that. Yes, we don't need these stakeholders to be a part of it, but let's surprise them. Please come and sit in. It will be nice for you to see what we are doing. And then you just sort of build all of these things together cumulatively. The world has changed. The structured approach is failing. The structured approach to what we do is failing because there are too many insurgents out there. Ask the Nigerian army, they will tell you how long it's taking for them to adapt, to even contain the insurgency. They have to do things unconventionally. So we are living a battle between the incumbents, we are the incumbents, and then the insurgents. The factors happening so quickly beyond our control. We must adapt. We must remain incumbent with the mindset of insurgents. I think that will be my last word to you. Thank you very much.
Please, can we give another sound?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
When I had to control him, because if you allow him, you'll be here 1 o'clock. He's never tired speaking. And you don't doubt why. He's the proprietor of School of Eloquence. So you need to control SN when he's talking. And he can engage you, you will never be tired. Because I know if it is ordinary message, some of you should have been feeling like dowsing now, but you are never tired. SN, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
We didn't make a wrong choice.
Thank you.
Bringing you to come and speak with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So much. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay.
Please, if you have.
Actually learned a lot, and then you said something about us having a book
Playbook. Yes, for various
I
scenarios.
think that is something we will look into and then make sure we do. Thank you very much.
And scenario.
Scenario.
Yes, scenario painting. Yes, serious. What if question?
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. Thank you.
What if this happens? What if this thing doesn't happen? And then I think that will bring out the best in us. We're very, very good.
Glad to hear
Thank
that.
you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate. Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
I'm Martina Pere New Beach from Nigerian Shippers Council South Zone Coordinating Office. The retreat so far has been so eye-opening, and especially today's topic from the Mr. S.N. Ubong, eloquent speaking, has been so eye-opening. It has impacted us positively and have given us a guide on how to go about being an emperor and a lot more. We appreciate it so much, and we wish to have more of this kind of sort of training. Thank you.
Madam dear Susan Shahoma, and the training was very insightful, very engaging. I learned a lot in terms of the importance of actually shifting my mindset from doing things the regular way to actually thinking outside the box. It was a very interesting class for me, and I would say my biggest take home is the fact that we can actually do things differently. Even though we might have been used to doing things the conventional way, we can actually make a decision to do things in a different way and still get better results. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Ogugbemi Idowu Samuel. A big thanks to the facilitator who has impacted knowledge. We've been encouraged to set a timely goal to drive the council's image, and also to shape the public opinion by setting a strong agenda for the public. We have also been encouraged to invest in improving some of our skills, which has to do with speaking skills, writing skills, and also to ensure we improve on our capacity to timely delivery of public relations services. And according to him, he said it is time we look at the opportunity in harnessing, the greatness in the strategy of public relations, that is relying on some platforms to drive the council's goal and to also ensure we sustain mutual understanding with the public. And there are some means and strategies to do that, which has been highlighted. And trust me, as a result of this great discussion, we'll take it and we'll implement it so that at the end of the day, we achieve a strong goal, a strong image with the public, and also improve on the council's reputation. Thank you.
My name is Zainab Momon Blakos, Public Relation Officer, Kaduna Port Office. I enjoyed today's lectures. It was very interactive. Personally, my take home is the dynamic shift, how we think from not the normal thinking we always think every day, thinking of something new, what we use to sustain the image of the council, and how to that sustainability of the image. And also what I also took was what if, the question of what if, always sitting down to think, what will happen? Thank you.
And we have the national anthem. In brotherhood we stand, Nigeria so proud to serve as sovereign motherland. O God of all creation, grant and these are one request. Help us to meet the nation, where no man is oppressed. And so with this and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Thank you. You may be seated.
For 2026, we are looking at the smart port routine. And a smart port is tech-driven. A smart port will rely on robotics, AI, and other modern tools that will limit human interface, human presence, and more of machines. But we don't need to be afraid, because anytime we discuss smart port, the union will think workers will lose their jobs. No. If we migrate to having a smart port system, I'm optimistic that it will create more jobs for smart people. And I believe that Nigerians are smart. We've seen people with Nigerian certificates go out of this country and serve as the best of doctors. We've seen people with Nigerian certificates go out of this country and serve as the best of engineers. So I can tell you that maritime stakeholders, maritime scholars in Nigeria can also perform optimally within and outside the shores of Nigeria. Mr. Chairman, I hope I've been able to speak to the 10 minutes you gave. I want to, on behalf of my colleagues, welcome you all to the 6th edition of the General Education.
Private sector operators must invest in innovation and efficiency. Regulators must embrace transparency and data-driven oversight. And industrial practitioners must commit to continuous learning and adaptation. As we deliberate today, let us remember that a smart port is not just about technology. It is about efficiency, transparency, competitiveness, and national prosperity.
I want to tell us a story. This is my personal experience. I was impressed when the chairman was talking about why is it that in Nigerian ports and logistics environment today, institutions, government agencies cannot work 24 hours. That is what we want to establish today. Can the system work 24 hours? What is the implication of not working 24 hours? In Nigeria today, freight forwarders, shippers, pay for services that are not rendered. Why? Because from 8 a.m. to about 4 p.m., most offices close, government offices close. Some, NAFDA, including my agency, CRFFM, and the rest. Customs, I think I'm impressed with recent reports that even in Tinkan here, that they have started working even weekends, but not 24 hours. I don't know if they have started working 24 hours. You're almost there. Please be quick and get there. Very important. It's very important because smart ports requires 24 hours operation. Logistics is time bound. It's also cost bound. Any delay in logistics translates to cost.
He said the model that if you are not too familiar with the book, look at what he's trying to say. What I just said is the issue of malpractices tells us what have you have not been addressed. So the question back to the important smart port. If the issue of consistent source of energy, not the one we see today, where the operators are acquiring a source of energy, the cost of doing business in the port, or cost of joining cargo out of the port will be high. Then talk about telecoms. If some of the operators, shipping lines are depending on telecoms and they don't have a backbone, the aspect of system breakdown telecom. That's why Custom have made every effort to abandon welfare them up to 7, use the backbone to support what they're doing. If not, they have a problem.
Because we have to address ourselves. If we put these things in place, and we have been putting various policies and systems in place for so long, but in the end, we as operators, as players within the system must ask ourselves, what role are we playing to ensure that this works? That's all. The last thing I want to mention is that I've sat in this conversation and I want to appeal to Mr. Ismail Anim. I think that there are two parties that should be here that are not here. The telecoms operators should be here. If you're talking about the blue economy must go beyond just maritime thinking. Because you're discussing smart systems. All of those things must ride on the backbone. I'll give you an instance. 3 or 4 days ago, we just finished at the School of Eloquence a Guinness World Record attempt for the longest public speaking marathon. What is the problem we are facing? We're using all kinds of internet infrastructure to send videos, and 3 days after, we're still struggling. Now, that is just an institution that is, we can call it a soft institution. How much more in the port ecosystem? They should be here to listen and understand their role in it. And that's why most of our maritime events must open up a little bit more to enable outsiders or other fields to come inside. Because
some of the tools which have been provided by WCO. Nigeria Customs Service itself is about 90% automated already. If you remember what it was with Asikuda plus 96, and now Bodo. When the speaker asked me if we are running it in 4 hours, but operations, I said almost. I said not yet, but of course, the system has evolved tremendously.
Yeah, for us, we have been in Amato. We sat down some 2-3 years ago already. You know, it's very difficult, easy to destroy, very difficult to build. We sat down and looked at, from our various engagements with agencies, government, MPA, NSC, even the CRFF. So we peered into the future and saw that things cannot continue to go like this for our members. If we do not embrace smart personnel, smart association. So by that, what we have been doing or trying to do, for instance, we identified certain projects that will help us get on track to be able to fit into the smart ports, and not just smart port, like the Grindland, it's supposed to evolve a smart maritime ecosystem. Because even at the level of the dry port, if you do not also plan for a smart system, then you are going to have the kind of congestion that you have in the port around that place. I think the MD of Nigeria Railway, acknowledged that fact. I think some 2 weeks ago at the MPCC, meeting we had, that go to a Vitamin Terminal, you will see, it's been a redeployment of the part of the congestion here, to that place, because there's no smart preparation, calling up trucks into that railway.
As part of Journal NG's contribution to the good and growth of the Nigerian maritime industry, we initiated the Port Industry Town Hall meeting. This is the 6th edition, and every year we pick a topic that will help engender the development of the sector. Like last year, we talked about 24-hour port operations. This year, we are talking about smart ports, and they are in sync. Those two issues synchronize, and it's meant for the good and growth of the industry. Because if you don't discuss it, you don't create the awareness. Policy makers policy implementers, government people, those are the private and public sector, may not even key into this agenda. But if it's out there, the more awareness we create, the better for Nigeria. Green port has to do with environmental sustainability. Yeah, smart port is automation. Yeah, lesser human interface, digitization, and they work for common good.
They're not really much what we want. We want Nigeria to not only to be signatory, but to be active implementer of global conventions and treaty. We are asking the key port operators to remove their normal mentality of smartness, unquote, to approach smartness through the application and embracing the application of artificial intelligence, blockchain, Internet of Things, in discharging their duties and functions within the port environment and maritime space. That's what we're trying to say. Artificial intelligence to drive your process to think better. The Internet of Things giving you opportunity to, connect the world. Then the blockchain, having a platform that will make you work better than you're achieving. So you achieve targets. We are saying let our port be green. The United Nations is saying let us encourage, instead of dry port, let our port be green. That means if you come to your port, start planting trees. Let there be green atmosphere inside the port, so that the bolstering that comes and the emissions that come from a vehicle, the trees and the flowers will have the capacity to absorb it. If you are doing so, you're also helping to help the green evolution of United Nations. So we want our system to be driven by a green environment that is more healthier than what we have. Because if you are operating in a dry, highly carbon monoxide environment, there's an element of health risk involved. So let us also ensure that the ports thrive by adding value to our health.
The truth of the matter is the world is evolving. Technology is shaping the world. The way things were done in the 90s is different from the way things were done in 2000 and the way things are done today. So every system, every organ, every institution need to evolve with that change. Technology has brought advancement in our ports and logistic corridor. That change should also be adopted. Otherwise, the world will leave us behind. So every stakeholder out there, every government agency out there needs to know this, although it is not a new topic, but it is something that we need to now pay attention to, because the speed of integration matters a lot, so that we don't find ourselves struggling to meet up with the most current developments, in the system. So, yeah, smart ports is the way to go. Thank you.
The smart ports and green ports